What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Sports Media. I am Ryan Linklater, and I am here with Dan Loya. Dan, Week 14 is upon us. The Detroit Lions took care of business on Thursday Night Football. Heading into the week, right, we have a lot of big playoff games in this slate. So let's get right into it with our predictions, best bets, and giving you guys a game by game breakdown of what we are going to be looking at this weekend. Let's start with a massive game in the AFC North. The Steelers are traveling to Baltimore in the first of the two games these teams face off. Both are tied at 6-6. Dan, what are your thoughts heading into this matchup?
Yeah, man, this is a very important game in the AFC North. Both teams are even, man, 6-6 on the year. Both teams struggling. Pittsburgh has lost 5 of their last 7 games. Baltimore's 5-1 in their last 6, but they're coming off a pretty disappointing loss on Thanksgiving. Overall, my takeaway is the Steelers are kind of a bad matchup for Baltimore. Lamar Jackson is 2-4 in his career versus the Steelers. And I think he's still kind of injured. He's kind of dealing with that hamstring injury. It's affecting his throwing. The offense is out of sync right now. I know it isn't any better in Pittsburgh. I have to pick a winner here, and I'm going with the Steelers. I just think the Steelers always play the Baltimore Ravens well, even when Baltimore's like has a better offense. So I like Pittsburgh's defense. They're second in the NFL in takeaways, and they have at least one takeaway in 3 straight games. So I think they keep it rolling, and their defense carries them to victory this week.
Yeah, I think this one's probably the biggest toss up for me. And I know the spread's 5.5
Oh,
for Baltimore at home right now,
that's
but
crazy.
it really feels like the Ravens, right, in this one are coming in slumping. The Steelers, same type of
Yeah,
case scenario where they're just struggling as of late and can't figure it out. The thing that I kind of do that's the deciding factor in this one is, this Baltimore Ravens team. It's not a question of the talent they have on the roster. They're up to down really good, but their weakness
yeah,
is their pass rush. And I think against the
yep.
Steelers team that gets the ball out quick, they don't necessarily rely on beating you down the field. I think Baltimore not having a pass rush is not going to be a massive factor in this game. So I think defensively,
Mhm.
they match up really well with what Pittsburgh wants to do. And on the other side of the ball, Lamar Jackson hasn't been the same. He struggled against the Steelers throughout his career. And I'm interested to see what they do to game plan to stop Garrett Henry. They did a great job stopping the run last week. But the thing is with Baltimore, this is a massive game for not just this season, but seasons to come for this Lamar Jackson led Ravens team, right? We've seen this team be talented for a ton of years, but it almost feels like if they lose this type of game, Harbaugh could potentially be out as a head coach, right? This team could make some major changes heading into the offseason. And the same thing is said for the Steelers. So massive implications on the line. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens, the more talented team. If I do bet on this game, I think the bets that I'm targeting towards I think Zay Flowers is in for a really strong day. Pittsburgh's secondary has been struggling as of late. And then you got to go with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's always reliable. On the other side of things, Jalen Warren has a good matchup as well. So all three of those players are guys I'm looking at in this matchup. Another big matchup, the AFC South between the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Dan, what are your thoughts entering this? Basically, this could decide the South.
Yeah, another very important game. The winner is gonna, I believe, be in first place in the division.
Yep.
I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think the thing that's I always bring this up week to week, and I think people are kind of banging the drum. And I think it's funny that the Colts haven't won there since 2014. So it's kind of you know, it just Colts struggle. I don't know what it is. It's interesting. Maybe something in the water. You've been there. It's something about the stadium they don't like. I don't know what's going on there, but I think just it's the Colts. They're dealing with a lot of injuries, man, and it sucks because they look so good to start the year, but when your quarterback's got a broken leg, you lose to Forrest Buckner. Um, it's easier to defend them. And Sauce Gardner, they just traded 2 picks, and I believe he's out. I thought I just saw that off my phone. So I got to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They looked really good last week. I think the Jacoby Myers trade, the wide receiver, former Las Vegas Raiders, definitely helped their offense. He's been a reliable target for Trevor Lawrence, and I like the Jaguars in this one. I'll keep it short and sweet. Jaguars.
Yeah, and I think one of the things Jacksonville does best that no one talks about is their run defense has been really good
Yeah.
this year, the entire year. And when you've been able to slow down Jonathan Taylor, this Colts offense has been nowhere near as efficient and effective as they have been to open the season. Obviously, Daniel Jones' limited mobility has been a part of that, but if you're able to have that run defense, they actually rank eighth in pressure rate since coming off of their bye week. So they've been really good rushing the passer since then as well. So Jacksonville firing on all cylinders defensively. They always have the Colts number at home. But the biggest thing is can Trevor Lawrence play consistent enough football and this team, be convincing enough on the offensive side of the ball and that consistency start to show up against an Indianapolis team that they're good, right? They've been slumping as of late. But everything seems like right now it's working in the Jaguars' favor. And this is the first time in 3 weeks that I'm actually picking the Jaguars to win the game. So
Oh,
uh,
oh, we know
I
what's happening.
it's finally time to hop on the Jaguars train. They're not pretty. They don't do a lot of stuff great, but they're a
Yeah.
consistent team. And I think Liam Cohen's developed a strong identity with their ground game. So I'm going with the Jaguars.
Yeah, hey,
Expect
sorry.
Travis
I found
Etienne to have a pretty nice game.
Oh, sorry to interrupt you. Here, real quick in my notes, I found Colts offense under 21 points, 3 of the last 4 games. Jacksonville's defense, last 3 games has only given up about 11 points per game. They've been rolling, and just like you said, they're number 1 against the run. So we're
Yeah.
gonna see how that plays out this week.
Yeah, I got the Jags. So Jags and Ravens, and Dan's going Steelers in that one. So a little bit splits there in those big games. Let's get
I
to
like
some
it.
quieter games here. You got the Commanders taking on the Vikings in Minnesota, and the Titans taking on the Browns. Dan, what are you looking at in both of these matchups? And Jaden Daniels is officially back.
Crazy, dude. Man, so I'll start with Titans Browns. Man, I really want to pick the Titans, dude. I really did, but I can't do it. I don't have the guts to do it. Um, If the Titans make it a dogfight, they gotta make it just like the game against the Chargers. You gotta return a punt, you gotta get a turnover, pick six, something. If they do that, they have a real chance. But I do this Titans offense is like what 32nd in points per game this season. They're gonna struggle against this Browns team. Their defense is pretty good, and people don't realize that. Titans are one of the worst teams pass blocking. And then, Miles Garrett's trying to hunt for the sack title. So give me the Cleveland Browns in that one. And then Minnesota and Washington. Yeah, dude, I can't believe Jaden's playing. That is crazy. But dude, I like Minnesota. I don't know what it is. I think I feel like I pick 'em every week and they lose. But I like their defense. Even last week with Max Brosmer, the score was 3-0 in the second quarter. I think with 6 minutes remaining. For some reason, Minnesota went for it on 4th and 1 inside like the 5-yard line. Max Berthmer throws a pick six, and the game was over after that. So I like their defense. I think their defense will carry Washington. And Jaden Daniels kind of struggles against the blitz. I'm surprised because Mariota's been way better this season, and then they're going to throw Jaden Daniels to the wolves against this Minnesota team that's really good blitzing and play. They're really good at zone defense. So I'm going to take the Vikings at home and a bounce back.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm going Washington in that battle. The biggest thing for me when I look at that matchup, it's JJ McCarthy's been the second worst quarterback since 2000, right? You
Yeah,
can't bet on a guy that's been that bad to open up his career, even if the defense is really good, even if they have Justin Jefferson. And you know, I just think with Washington, right? You add Jaden Daniels and you have Chris Rodriguez in the ground game working.
hmm
Minnesota's run defense has been a little shaky over the last 4 weeks. So I think that's a good play. I got Jaden Daniels coming out on top in that one. I do like the overs on rushing totals. And then depends on if Aaron Jones goes or not, but Jordan Mason also has a good matchup as
yeah,
well. In that Cleveland game, the headline is going to be Miles Garrett breaks a sack record. The Titans have allowed the most
yeah.
sacks this season. He's breaking the record
Yep.
this week. I mean, he
Oh,
is going to go ballistic against this team, and I wouldn't
yeah.
be surprised if this is like a 20-7 game where Cleveland's defense has a great game, a defensive touchdown. Quinshot Judkins has a really good game, and Shadur Sanders and Cam Ward combined for 300 passing yards. Like it'll be that type of
Pretty high,
gritty,
pretty high.
ugly game. All right, let's get to one that the luster's kind of fallen off, but it's actually a very important game. The Bengals versus the Bills. Bengals still have a fighting chance in this division. Dan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, dude, this is I think, it's gonna be an upset. This is it right here. I every week I come on here and I pick the Bills and then they lose, and I'm done, dude. The Bills are frauds, dude. James Cook, I think, is gonna have a nice game. The Bills come in with their number 1 rushing attack. You saw what they did against, the Steelers last week. The Bengals rush defense, one of the worst in the league, giving up 153 yards per game, 5.1, yards per rush. Their pass rush is also ranked 31st. The only difference is that after the bye week, the Bengals defense has improved, and you have to recognize that. Since the bye week, they're only giving up about 18 points per game. They've had 5 takeaways, 4 sacks, 1 defensive touchdown. I gotta acknowledge that. And then the only difference between this game and last week for Buffalo is the Steelers couldn't score. The Bengals are going to be able to score on this team. So I like the Bengals this week to pull off the upset in Buffalo. Like I said, I think the Bengals are going to make it a shootout. The Bills are going to have to keep up, which they can do, but I don't trust the Bills, dude. I really don't. They're frauds, man. I don't trust them.
Hmm.
I like the Bengals this week.
Interesting. Yeah, here's the biggest thing with me in this matchup is Buffalo. While I think that they have their flaws for sure, um, they're going to be able to run the ball very effectively, and we know that Buffalo, when they play in that
Yeah.
type of a game script, is significantly better. When James Cook can get going, Cincinnati's not going to be able to slow him down. That's going to be something that's going to happen the entire game, where James Cook's going to get his. And the other thing I look at is Buffalo's at home in this one. They've been really good at home, obviously historically, and especially this season in general. So them being at home, the Bengals, right, coming in, have a bad defense, right? I know they've been better as of late, but they're still a bad
Yeah.
defense. Uh, and Joe Burrow last week, he didn't really look that great. He threw a ton of
Oh, he's
passes.
rusty.
His team stalled out. They were really inconsistent offensively. So I'm not sure that Cincinnati is going to come in here and put up 35 points. And Joe Burrow is going to click really quickly. I do think there will be a little bit of struggles there, and I think it'll be a bit inconsistent. So I'm going with Buffalo in this matchup. As far as like betting stuff goes, Chase Brown should have a nice day on the ground. T. Higgins, if he's back, would be a nice play outside of Jamar Chase. All right, let's get to some other matchups here. Let's talk about, let's clump these four together because they're all not necessarily the most entertaining games, but I think they all have their own headlines. You got the Broncos and Raiders, you got the Saints and the Bucks, you got the Seahawks and the Falcons, and then you have the Dolphins and the Jets. Dan, looking at these matchups personally, I look at the Broncos and the Raiders, and then I look at the Dolphins and the Jets, two games that I think are probably going to be close nut cutters on both sides of it. The Raiders
Hmm.
played the Broncos incredibly well last time in an ugly, gritty game where their defense showed up. Broncos basically play down to their opponent every single week or play up to their opponent. So I'm assuming it's going to be a one-score game. I'm still going to go with Denver. I think their defense is too talented to lose. They'll probably win on another game-winning field goal. I think that would mark the fifth time this season they've done that, which has got to be close to an NFL record. And then
Oh,
on the other side, like Dolphins and Jets, like I'm looking at that one. I think the Jets are frisky in this one for sure. I think what Tyrod Taylor can do at quarterback makes it a little interesting. But the thing for me is Devon A-Chain, the biggest X factor in that matchup. He's going to have a monster game and be able to run all over New York. Seattle versus Atlanta. I do think the blitz of Atlanta and the pressure could get to Seattle and make things hard on Sam Darnold. But I also look at that defense and what they're going to be able to do to a immobile Kirk Cousins in that back. Like it is going to be rough. If they can shut down Bijan Robinson, the Seahawks should have another nice, easy victory of multiple scores. And then the Saints and the Bucks. We saw the last time what happened. Right, this Saints defense absolutely bullied, or sorry, the Bucks defense absolutely bullied the Saints defense. I want to see this Buccaneers passing offense get going again. They're finally getting guys healthy. Mike Evans is a potential return candidate this week. Let's see if the Bucks start to show some life and potentially make some improvements and make us consider, hey, can this team make a run this postseason? So as far as those games go, I'm still taking all the favorites, but I'd say the Dolphins and the Jets is the one that you have to worry about a potential upset in. What are your thoughts, Dan?
yeah, man, I agree with you. Yeah, you got all my notes. You hit it right on the head. Dolphins, Jets. We'll start there. I think the Dolphins are going to pull it out. I know it's cold, and people are going to pull that narrative that Tua doesn't like to play in the cold, but the Miami Dolphins offense has been better. Achan's gonna it's gonna be a Devon Achan game. He's recorded over 120 yards the last 3 games. Week 9 against this team, he recorded 99 yards, one score, and 5.0 yards per carry. Bijan, you look at last week against the Jets, Bijan Robinson ran for 140 and 6.2 yards per carry. So I think it's going to be a big run game for the Dolphins. Miami Dolphins defense also under 18 points 4 of the last 5 games. So I like the Dolphins in that one. And then these other games, I like the Bucks. The Bucks versus they're gonna blitz Tyler Shough a lot. I say it every week. He's not very good against the blitz. Also, he doesn't have a really good success rate against his zone, only 42.3%. Per next gen stats. The Bucks defense has recorded a takeaway in 8 of the last 12 games, and they destroyed them at on the road a couple weeks ago. So yeah, I like the Bucks. The Bucks are getting healthy. I think the Bucks are kind of underrated. They had a real tough schedule. They've been competing in all these games. I like them. I think they're going to win the division eventually. Broncos Raiders. This could be the week that the Broncos end the narrative that we don't play one score games anymore. The Raiders are limping. Max Crosby, he did not practice yesterday, so I'm wondering if he's not going to even play this week. The Raiders' 6-game losing streak. The Raiders cannot block up front. Them and the Titans are one of the worst pass blocking teams in the league. Good luck blocking the Denver Broncos this week. So yeah, Broncos in that one. And then the last game here, Seahawks Falcons. Just like you said, dude. I think Sam Darnold might struggle against this blitzing team. The Falcons, they're third in sacks, second in blitz rate. Darnold quietly was sacked 4 times last week against Minnesota. They played him really tough, but I gotta go with the Seahawks, dude. Mike McDaniel, 12-2 on the road. Seattle's won 6 of the last 7. I like Seattle, man. They're a Super Bowl team, so give me the Seahawks.
Mm. Bang, there you go. All the favorites are gonna win in our minds.
Yeah.
So that means like all of them are gonna
We know what's
lose.
happening.
Let's talk about the Rams and the Cardinals. Obviously, the Rams came in after a bad performance against Carolina, and on the road, they've just struggled a little bit more on the defensive side of the ball. What are your thoughts heading into this one? And can Arizona finally get over the hump and win a game where, it feels like they're really close, but they just can't get over the hump?
Yeah, it's not happening. Breaking news. Cardinals versus division opponents. So against the NFC West this season, which is loaded. They're 0-4 with a minus 45 point differential.
That's not going to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah, dude. Arizona Cardinals were just eliminated. Uh, we're gonna see how they respond, dude. Are they gonna play for their coach these last what 4 or 5 games? We're gonna see if he's gonna have a job next season. This is it. Jacoby Brissett's played well. He's thrown for over 250 yards, 7 straight games, 2 TDs, at least 2 TDs, 6 of the last 7. But this Rams defense is different. They're gonna be pissed off after losing last week, and their offense is rolling, dude. Rams have scored 28 plus points, 5 of the last 6. Adams has a TD in 6 straight games. Yeah, the Rams are a different beast, dude, and they're trying to win their division. They're gonna come in ready to go. So I gotta go with the Rams here.
Yeah, listen, I think the Rams, right? I picked the Cardinals, I think the last 2 weeks based on their matchups in the passing game. Like they had good matchups.
Uh,
They really kind of
I
did,
know,
but
man. It's a tricky
they
team,
can't
man.
get the job done. That's the story of the season for the Cardinals. They just can't seem to get the job done and win in these big moments. And this is a big moment, right? The Rams are going to come in a little frustrated after their performance last week, where they kind of got bullied on the ground game by Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle. I expect them to be able to stop the run well in this one. It's going to come down to can they slow down Jacoby Brissett enough, force some turnovers, get some big time timely
That
sacks,
could
which
happen.
has been the biggest thing stalling out this Cardinals offense a lot of times. And then on the flip side of it, can the Cardinals get to Matthew Stafford and pressure him? It's going to be interesting to see. Kyron Williams is coming in a little banged up, but I think this honestly will be one of the lower scoring. I think 21-17 game in this one. Obviously, Devontae Adams is going to catch a touchdown because he does every single week. But I think the Rams find a good way to rebound against a division opponent. All right, last 3 games of the week, Dan. These are all 3 great games here. Let's start off with our watch party game. Chicago Bears traveling to Green Bay. What are your thoughts entering this matchup, and who is going to come out on top?
Man, dude, what a game, dude! What a game this is. This is like the most important Bears Packers game since what, like 2013.
Yeah,
Uh, at the end of the season, it was like December 29th, 2013. Aaron Rodgers found Randall Cobb at the back of what deep. He scrambled out. Yeah, that was a fun game. Dude, this is gonna be a good game. We keep underestimating the Bears, but they keep winning. Bears defense #1 in takeaways, but the Packers offense has only give the ball away 7 times this season. But we said the same thing. I said the same thing last week about the Eagles. Even Jalen Hurts said it pregame. He was like, "Oh, we don't give the ball away." 2 turnovers later, they lose. I do. The Packers are better in every way. They have a better roster than the Bears. I mean, everywhere. They're better than them everywhere. There's a reason why the spread is 6.5 or 7. But I'm sipping the Kool-Aid here, and I'm just gonna bet on the culture of the Bears. And I know my Bears fans, they love the free hot dogs that are given away this week. Maybe they keep it rolling, and they find a way to win in Lambeau. They did it last year, so somehow, dude, the Bears are gonna win. I'm just going off vibes here, dude. This is it. The Bears are gonna
this is
win.
it. This is the week.
Bears are winning, dude. I'm sipping the Kool-Aid. I told you, man. I mean, the Packers are just
Man,
a
dude,
steamroller.
I
Going
honestly have
going
gone
for it.
back and forward a little bit on it. I think that the interesting part about this one though is I think the Bears are going to run the football really well against Green Bay.
You think
Right?
so?
But the way the things happen for Chicago this year, is they have settled for 3 points and not scored touchdowns enough this year. And it's been because of Caleb Williams and his struggles to be consistent in the passing game. It's not going to be easy against Green Bay in the passing game. It's going to be cold in Green Bay, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, Caleb has struggled to stay consistent, throwing the ball accurately to open receivers and finding guys quickly, getting the ball out of his hands. It's not going to work against Green Bay. And then I look at the flip side of things. Chicago's defense is, I don't want to call them good, but they're opportunistic, right? They don't get to the
yeah,
quarterback very well. That Kevin Byard's having an unbelievable season, and their secondary is finally healthy, which should help. But that team is still missing three linebackers consistently every single week, and I expect that Matt LaFleur will have a solid game plan for attacking those guys through the air. Honestly, I expect a lot of running backs to be involved in the passing game for Green Bay this week, based on the matchup alone. I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game. I think it'll be 23-20 is what the final is. In my mind, I would go with the Green Bay Packers, but obviously, I think the Bears are riding a hot streak that, they have this momentum. They have the belief that in a one score game, they're going to find a way to grind it out. And they do have a plus matchup on the ground, but the Green Bay Packers, like you mentioned, they're the more talented team at the moment.
yeah,
And
clearly.
we've
Yeah,
seen the Packers, they play really well in their toughest matchups of the year most of the time, right? The one exception is the Philly game where Jordan Love was brutal, and that was on the road. So you look at or that might have been at home actually, but still,
it was home. It's real cold.
Jordan Love had a brutal outing in that one. But besides that, he's been really good, especially in the division and in big time games. And we've seen it against Detroit, right? This week against Chicago. I think he's going to be able to capitalize again. I'm going with the Packers, and I do think this winds up being a series split. I do think the Bears win the other one at home because these two teams are a little closer matched than a lot of people think. All right, the next one, Dan, Texans versus Chiefs. Do you want me to go first in this one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Lead
All
us
right.
off.
Listen, it's grim, it's dark, it's not looking good. Kansas City, they're down Josh Simmons at left tackle. Trey Smith at right guard is questionable, right? Jawan Taylor at right tackle, questionable. The current offensive line for the Chiefs heading into this one, you got Wanya Morris, who has been under like a 55 PFF grade his entire career, right? You got Kingsley Sumiata and Creed Humphrey, who have been mainstays, right? Mike Caliendo at right guard allowed, I think, 10 pressures last week. And then at right tackle, you're going Jalen Moore, who's been okay as a swing tackle this year. So you're going up against a Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson duo that is going to absolutely get to Patrick Mahomes and be frustrating and annoy the heck out of the Kansas City Chiefs. But you know what, Dan? The Chiefs are going to win this ball game, and here is why.
I'm
They
listening.
had this same type of problem the last two times they faced the Texans last year is the offensive line had no left tackle. They had inconsistent guys in and out of the lineup last year, and they found ways to win with their receiver core of only Xavier Worthy, right? This Chiefs offense, while a lot of people think Patrick Mahomes is not the same player, this offense is washed, whatever you want to call it. This team, right? They have the most yards per drive in the NFL. Mahomes is second in the NFL in QBR, and they have the second most points per drive in the NFL. The question marks are not, can this offense adjust against the best defense in football? It's the matchup on the other side of the ball. Can the Chiefs defense, who has been one of the worst over the last month, you could argue, right? They actually are 24th in EPA per play now on the defensive side of the ball. Can they slow down CJ Stroud in this offense, who they have their own question marks as well? It's two units that have a lot of question marks going head to head against each other. And I think that's where the matchup is going to be decided. If the Chiefs can get off the field on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, something that they haven't been able to do over the course of the last month, and they've lost games because of it, right? They will win this game. If they don't, the Texans are going to win this ball game. And I think that this situation, this moment at home at Arrowhead, where the Chiefs have only lost one game this season, they will find a way to win this ball game. This is a must-win game for the Chiefs. The Texans, they're coming in a little hot, right? They're riding this winning streak. They're feeling good about themselves, but we all know the opponents they've played during that stretch. And while I think that the Chiefs are not as good as a lot of people think or know, this team is close. And if they don't figure it out this week, it's done. And I think the urgency is high in Kansas City. I'm going with Kansas City 23-20. It's going to be an ugly, close game, and they'll find a way to win a one score game for the second time this year. What are your
All
thoughts?
right, all right. All right, hey man, I mean I just picked the Bears off vibes, dude. You know, you gave some good reasons, so but I'm going the opposite. I respect your opinion, but I'm going the opposite. Uh, Kansas City Chiefs have lost 3 of the last 4 games. Texans are on a 4-game win streak. Uh, the mismatch here is, yeah, they're going to be down 3 starters, correct, on the offensive line, just like you said. Yeah, so this is a tough matchup for him. Houston Texans, sorry, Kansas City Chiefs have allowed 3+ sacks 5 straight games, and it could be worse if Mahomes, isn't working his magic and he eludes sacks like one of the best in the league. Houston's Texans defense, number 1 in the NFL, only allowing 16.5 points per game. They're ranked sixth in the NFL in sacks. My stat here is they held teams under 19 points 5 of the last 6 games. And another interesting one, the most passing yards they have given up in a game this year is only 226. They're one of the best defenses in the league, dude. They're legit. I do worry about their offense. Like they do have to score some points here, but I'm gonna trust the Texans. I think they're rolling. I think they have some good vibes with them, and I think they played. I know last year they played in the playoffs. No, isn't it? They
Yeah,
played
they played
twice in
last
Kansas
year. They
City
played
already.
in the regular season last year and in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah, so I think that's gonna help them because they're a younger team last year. They've been there twice, so they're not gonna be surprised by the environment of like, "Oh, wow, this Arrowhead is packed, hostile, it's loud." I think that really benefits them. So, I think the third time is the charm, and they finally get a W in Kansas City.
Listen, that one is going to be probably a lot of people are going to be watching Bears Packers, but I guarantee you the Sunday night football numbers for that game and a basically elimination game will be as blunt as possible for the Chiefs and the Texans who are trying to regain control of that division. That's going to be one of the most watched games of the week for sure. All right. Monday night football, you got the Eagles and Chargers, Dan. For me, this is not even a consideration to go Los Angeles. I mean, Justin Herbert, if he goes, is coming off of surgery this week. And it's a matchup where his entire offensive line has been bad the entire year. I know Jalen Carter's out,
Yeah,
and that
word.
does give them a boost, but this Eagles defense has been legit. They made the right moves at the deadline, and they've been solid. They just haven't stopped the run consistently well. And I think the Chargers, who have a solid
Okay.
running game, and Greg Roman loves to run the ball. But the problem with them is they don't do it. They have the highest pass rate over expected in football because they have Justin Herbert. And obviously, like having Justin Herbert is awesome. But when you don't commit to the ground game, you waste one of your best advantages. And in this one against the Eagles, that's going to be the way they beat them. But then you flip the side of the ball. The Eagles, right? Their offense stinks right now. They can't seem to find any
Fact.
consistency on any single week. But the Chargers defense has its holes, and it's on their ground game and their rush defense. They've been one of the worst rush defenses in football since week 5, and it's a good matchup that Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley have to take advantage of. I think this one's going to be an ugly, like 17-14 ball game. It's going to be a boring Monday night defensive fest. Grind it out, grit it out, whatever you want to be. But the Eagles are going to win this ball game.
Yeah, you gotta watch the Monsters Inc. That might be entertaining. I know on ESPN, so yeah, give that a look. Man, dude, I'm telling you, the Eagles are an all-star team. They shouldn't be in this situation, but the vibes are bad right now. Jalen Carter, is he out for the year? I know
He's
he's
out.
out for this game. Like, is he out for the season?
I don't know if
Or
he's
they
out for
put
the
him
year. I got to recheck the
okay.
report, but I know he's out for this one.
Dude, I really don't like the vibes right now, man. And we do it every week. We pick like the Bills, Chiefs, Eagles, and they've been losing. So you got to trust your eyes here. And just like you said, the way the Chargers win this game is running the ball, and I think that's how they do it, dude. I am absolutely worried about I wouldn't go 5 wide like the Detroit Lions last night and try to shred this Eagles defense. Like you're not going to be able to block against this front. You can't do that. Just power football, man. Ugly, you know, I formation, Michigan, Ohio State game plan. Just run it down their throats. This is how they win this game. The Chargers. Chargers have won 4 of the last 5. The Chargers defense too. On the flip side, they've held teams under 21 4 of the last 5. The Eagles' offense is in a slump, under 22 points, 4 straight games. You saw in the Bears game, this Eagles defense is good. They tried carrying them, but eventually the offense has to pick up the slack. They haven't done it these last during this losing streak during the last 4 games. It's been struggle for them, and I don't think anything changes. This Chargers defense against the pass is underrated. Jalen isn't going to throw for 304 TDs against this team. It's going to be another struggle, and he's got no confidence right now. So I believe the Chargers are going to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, and if Hampton's playing, they're going to feed him Vidal, whoever the running back is. Trey Lance might get a score. He's going to be in there. It's going to be just control the clock, run the football, and I think that's how they're going to win this game. I think I can't trust the
Hmm,
Eagles right now. I don't.
interesting. All right. Hey, listen, that is our week 14 prediction show. Drop all of your predictions, hot takes, comments, questions, whatever you have down in the comment section below. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Angle content. And me and Dan will catch you guys next time.